Beware of the blob, it creeps and leaps and glides and slides across the floor, right through the door and all around the wall. A splotch, a blotch, be careful of the blob.
Hey, welcome to Half the Battle. Today we're going back to the cartoon and we're gonna see how G.I. Joe handles germ warfare. It's gonna get rather silly, isn't it? We're looking at the episode The Germ. Though, if you want my opinion, they should have called it G.I. Joe Meets The Blob. We start at a hospital where a not at all suspicious looking guy receives a message on his Dick Tracy watch. Turns out this guy is a Crimson Guard, Agent X-99. He is tasked by Tomex and Zemat to steal Bacteria X. Now, if you were a deep cover agent, finally given a stealthy mission, you'd do everything in your power to be as unassuming and inconspicuous as possible, right? Not this guy! He immediately changes into his Crimson Guard uniform, not using his cover at all. Cobra's elite corpse, ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a hand! He is discovered, well, of course he is, and then this happens.
And your history. You don't know how dangerous.
So, to recap, he points his gun at the doctor, tells him he's history, and shoots some chemicals behind him. Then he just shoves past the guy. I mean, come on! I know they weren't allowed to shoot anybody on the cartoon, but then why have this scene at all? Why make him pull out the gun? It just draws extra attention to the no-killing rule. Just have him shove past the scientist and be done with it. We're like 2 minutes into this cartoon. And by the way, that includes the theme song. And I've already ranted for a huge paragraph. This is gonna hurt, isn't it? Anyway, the Crimson Guard makes it to a Cobra base, handing the bacteria over to Destro. Agent X-99 has orders from the twins and Cobra Commander to remain and report on Destro's work. He isn't fond of being micromanaged, so he takes off in a huff. Not wanting to waste any time, Tomex and Zemat order the guy to just take the vial back so they can work on it themselves. Since he's stealing stuff anyway, he also takes a vial of growth serum. Yeah, you can tell where this is going. Then, something quite extraordinary happens. The other Cobras at the base actually try to stop the Crimson Guard. Yeah, they pursue him and shoot at him and everything. And Destro didn't even order this. The peons act on their own initiative. It's another example of how dysfunctional Cobra is. During the fight, the vials get dropped and, of course, mix. This results in a large glowing purple mass that would look more at home attacking the Enterprise than anything else. It immediately heads for the Cobra base and, eats it. Yeah, if you're following along, this means that through Cobra's own bumbling, they've managed to get one of their own bases destroyed without any help from G.I. Joe whatsoever. Once again, Cobra's elite corpse, everybody! 2 Cobras, who I've nicknamed Dumb and Dumber, try to escape on the water moccasin.
The darn thing won't start.
Well, maybe that's because you're trying to start it from the frickin' gunner's position, not the actual damn driver's seat. They go to Plan B and put on diver suits, or Cobra eels, and I swear these guys must be related to Superman, considering they managed to get changed in less than 2 seconds flat. Look at it! I didn't edit that footage! That's literally how little time it took them. Anyway, the Joes get word of the blob thing and plan to intercept it.
No sweat, Colonel. There ain't a Slimer made that we can't take out.
This guy may disagree there, Shipwreck. They try to tackle the problem the way G.I. Joe usually tries to solve an issue, by shooting missiles at it. The Blob just spits the weapons back at them, and so much for Plan A. Without blinking, Ace goes for Plan B, commandeering a crop duster to spray the thing with insecticide. Oh, and I'm pretty sure skywriting doesn't work that way. Plan B goes exactly as well as Plan A, with the Blob sneezing the poison back at Ace. And you'll note he still has his mask and goggles with him, but elects not to use them to save himself from the deadly gas. He does manage to land, and then this happens.
You all right, old buddy?
All right, no. Alive, yes.
Yeah, the only editing I did there was put in the scene missing text. You know, it would have been nice to see the actual rescue happen. Anyway, it's time for Plan C. A plane in the shape of a giant needle they just happen to have lying around. Airtight will fly it into the Blob, where he will use explosives to detonate a large amount of antibiotics. I gotta admit, I would have gone into medicine if it had involved more explosives. So Airtight gets in there, and the cartoon now looks more like Fantastic Voyage than anything else. Or, if you prefer, Diatron 5. Nobody prefers Diatron 5. He makes it past a bunch of missiles. Remember, the thing ate a Cobra missile base, so this does make sense, somewhat. And he finds the nucleus. I should point out that a bacteria doesn't have a nucleus. But then again, I'm trying to find scientific accuracy in a story where a giant germ eats missiles and spits them back out. It's like pointing out a picture is hanging crooked on the Titanic while ignoring the iceberg-shaped hole in the hull. Meanwhile, the scientist that made the germ runs up to the Joes.
Do you work for Cobra? No, I'm a doctor.
Dr. Mindbender, Dr. Venom, Dr. Biggles-Jones. Yeah, considering the amount of evil masterminds that call themselves Doctor, that's not really a convincing argument there, dude. Anyway, he has some bad news.
It's a super germ. Nothing known to man can stop it. In fact, your antibiotics might make it more powerful.
We're gonna be needing a Plan D, won't we? Since Airtight is a bit of an arrogant a-hole, he has shut off communications, meaning they can't warn him as he heads out with the explosives and antibiotics. He is spotted by Dumb and Dumber, who seem to have not been digested by the Blob and must have a freaking limitless oxygen supply, or they can hold their breath as long as Superman. A fight breaks out, and Airtight manages to get the duo stuck in the nucleus, along with the explosives. He gets the hell out of Dodge and back to his plane, only to find the freaking Crimson Guard from the beginning on board? The hell? Where the hell did this guy come from? We never even got a hint that he had gotten on board. And don't tell me he snuck on, because, as we've seen, he ain't all that good at stealth. His presence here is never explained, and amounts to nothing, since Airtight tells him that, well, he's the only one that can fly the plane.
Either you let me pilot the ship, or we die.
Then we have no choice at all.
They get out just as the bomb is exploding, and Dumb and Dumber are dead. Huh. I gotta admit, I thought nobody ever died in the cartoon, yet here we are. All that effort and drama, and they just made a bad situation worse, as the Blob is now reproducing and splitting in two.
It's not dying. It's going through its process of mitosis.
Mitosis? What's that?
Reproducing itself.
I do like how they try to teach kids about science, through way of a giant glowing cloud bacteria. So, I guess it's time for Plan D. I'll let them explain it.
I still think we ought to try poisoning it somehow. What we need is a candy coating.
Poison in a candy coating.
Of course, apple seeds contain a tiny amount of poison.
Poison?
Only in the seeds. In small doses, it's harmless.
But what about in large doses? Say an orchard full?
Ugh, I'm gonna have to look this up, right? Okay, turns out that cyanide, the poison you can find in apple seeds, would be able to kill certain forms of bacteria, providing they break down the apple seeds. Oh, I should also mention, some bacteria get strengthened by cyanide. But it's not a factor here, since they already used that plot twist with the antibiotics. They managed to divert one of the blobs to 2 orchards, using explosions, of course, since that seems to be all they can think of, where it gorges itself and promptly explodes. Because eating cyanide will make you blow up. Science! Since the other blob isn't near any apple trees, the Joes load up their vehicles with apples and go hunting. At this point, we interrupt the cartoon to bring you a blatant toy commercial.
Toll booth, we got a problem. Bring up the bridge light.
Yeah, convenient how there's an obstacle always just wide enough for the bridge layer to fix. So, the Joes line up to take on the blob, and... Hold everything! Flag on the field! Foul play! Look, I think it's fair to say that I've put up with a lot when it comes to this cartoon. Giant growth serums, bacteria that spit out missiles. But this is where I draw the line! Their guns are shooting apples. Their guns are shooting apples! And what makes it even worse, in the cartoon, no matter what guns look like, they are supposed to all be laser guns. So, a laser gun being able to shoot out apples makes even less damn sense. This is like a Mad Lib gone horribly wrong. Or horribly right, I suppose. G.I.Joe is shooting, apples at, a giant germ. And you wanna know the worst part? This was all just so they could have another action scene, since it was completely unnecessary. All they had to do was park the trucks full of apples in front of the damn blob and run like hell. A mission accomplished. Instead, we get this. Anyway, with the help of the Sky Strikers dropping apple bombs, because at this point why not, the last blob ends up exploding. End of story. We're done.
Yeah, real disgusting.
No. No.
What do we got here? It must be a worm from the germ.
No, 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 no! How the hell did these two survive? They were stuck in the nucleus right next to a big stack of explosives. You thought I was joking, but no! These guys really are from Krypton. I mean, that's the only explanation that makes sense. They are Superman's dim-witted cousins or something. This right here is the whole nobody ever dies rule from the cartoon brought to its idiotic conclusion. And that was the germ. In a word, infuriating. I'm not gonna go over the science in this episode again, considering G.I. Joe and actual science have about as close of a relationship as me and Mila Jovovich, so it's wrong to expect much. No, what bothers me the most is how the episode destroys the suspension of disbelief by creating plot holes simply because they wanted to have more action scenes. I already talked how there had to be a final battle leading to laser guns shooting friggin' apples, but there's more. Dumb and Dumber attacked Airtight solely for the sake of having another fight in the episode, creating the plot hole of how they could have possibly survived. Instead, Why didn't they sneak aboard his needle plane, only to realize they needed a Joe to pilot it? You know, like what happened with the Crimson Guard who poofed into existence, creating another plot hole. Common sense got kicked in the groin today, folks. Now, to be fair, that's not to say it was all bad. I do like how the first part of the episode focused on the Cobra minions. Hell, Destro and the twins only have a cameo and don't appear for the rest of the runtime. And Destro didn't order his troops to stop Agent X-99. That was on the initiative of a nameless televiper. It were the rank-and-file troops who started their own mini-civil war, leading to the plot of the whole story. It was nice to see. I also like how it was Shipwreck of all people who came up with the ultimate solution, while the presumably smarter Airtight and Ace couldn't figure it out. And Shipwreck was a delight to watch, as usual.
Come on, you lousy coward. Come out and take your medicine. Come on. This is gonna be your Waterloo, your Alamo, your Shipwreck. Just kidding, big guy.
Overall, there were some enjoyable elements, but the rest was a frustrating watch. See you next time, everybody!
Beware of the blob, it creeps and leaps and glides and slides across the floor, right through the door and all around the wall. A splotch, a blotch, be careful of the blob. Beware of the blob, it creeps